Do you think Instagram is going to ban me again for reposting at Sinners?
I mean, if you're doing it right, they will.
I swear to God, last year I reposted 687 stories, and then Instagram was like, nah,
Nah,
nah, we're turning your account. We're
spam,
shadow banning you.
spam.
Shadow banned. Hey guys, welcome back to the Dark Collective podcast. I am your host, Miss Red, and of course we have the ever so gorgeous, so lovely, so beautiful, so beautiful Allison is here.
Hi.
Allison and I just got done with our interview with the ever so, gosh, she's so talented and so nice. Allison, who are we interviewing today?
We were interviewing Morgan Bridges, and I just want to say, I feel like her brain functions similar to mine. It's that, like,
Really?
yeah, like, 'cause she just is like that cadence of go, do, like,
Yeah.
problem solution. Let's go, let's move. Like, it's not like, okay, we're going to dwell.
Yeah, no, the big thing is I 100% fangirled and got gross. And I know that you noticed it because you know when I fangirl. The cool thing is Allison and I actually have both read two of her duets. So I got to read The Obsidian, and it's the Vicious Secret books. And they are, Delilah and X. That's the FMC and MMC. It is dark academia. It is angsty. There is unaliving people. There's tattoos, which obviously, that's my thing. Like there's so much to it, and it's so layered, and I love it. And I literally finished it in like 32 hours.
Yeah.
It's like one of my faves.
And I read Once You Were Mine, which is
Mm-hmm.
just a super delicious stalker. Like, he wants to possess her. She is his story, and it's a duet. And just thinking about it gives me a little like goose chills. I'm like, woo.
Goose
Good.
chills. Yeah. So you guys, we cannot wait for you to listen. The interview is amazing. It's a little bit longer than normal, but I promise you it's worth it.
Worth every second.
She is such a gem. And I can't wait to meet her in person at Sinners, which is crazy. It's in 3 months. Three months.
Yeah. Oh.
3 months. Oh my Lord.
Oh my Lanta.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lanta. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this interview one more time. Allison, who are we interviewing?
Morgan Bridges.
All right, you guys. Please enjoy.
Bye.
All right, you guys. So please welcome the ever so vivacious Miss Morgan Bridges is here.
Yay!
Hello, my dear. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, Morgan, why don't you tell everyone what state do you live in? Are you in the United States?
Yes, I live in Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Oh, nice. We have a lot of our authors are from Texas.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. But we will get started. So, Miss Morgan, what genres do you write?
Romance, and romance. I refuse to write anything that's not. I pretty much won't read anything that's not. I've tried to be open-minded over the years, but I just can't seem to do it. The only exception is young adult, but it has to have a strong romance plot line.
Yeah.
And even that, I have to be in the mood for that innocent type love, coming of age trope thing. If I'm not, it's just romance for me. And then specifically the subgenres of romance, I've written, so I've been doing this for 6 years.
Ooh.
And Morgan is my second pen name. And so my first pen name was Miranda Bridges, and she wrote a bunch of alien smut.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now I'm going to go find
Did
some.
not see that coming. Did not see that coming.
Fantastic.
So that's where I started, was writing SFR, science fiction romance, alien romance, and I have like 30 plus titles under that pen name. They're very short and fast paced, insta love, insta lust, fated mate kind of feel.
Okay.
I'm looking at the books over there. They're like, because it's years of my life, right, before Morgan was born. And after doing fated mates forever, I was like, I want a little risk. I want more danger. I want something that SFR cannot provide. And so I said, let me try my hand at dark. So Morgan was born in 2021. I wrote 3 Mafia books, and they did okay, but I was like, maybe I picked wrong. So I went back to SFR for a while. And then the market changed, TikTok became a thing, and I decided that if I was going to have a career that could sustain me for a lifetime, that dark was more beneficial for me. I know other people that, like Ruby Dixon's a friend of mine, and she is
Oh yeah.
killing it in SFR. So I am not saying it's like not a good genre, but for me, it wasn't a perfect fit anymore. And stylistically, I wanted to write stuff that had more angst and emotion, whereas with the sci-fi, for me, the way that I wrote them, it didn't provide that. So I switched to dark and came back with Once You're Mine, and Now You're Mine at the end of 2023. Morgan had been dormant for 2 years, and then after that went well, I was like, okay, it proved to me that I could do dark satisfactory to the readers. And I'm like, okay, that's it. So Miranda is dead to me, and Morgan is where I live forever and ever. Amen.
That okay, first of all, the alien smut threw me. I love it. I'm here for it. It
Yes.
just definitely threw me. But no, it's crazy because dark romance, I'm new to it. Like literally that's how I became a part of this book world as a hairdresser, is a crazy story that I will not get into, but it's because of Jenn, the owner of Sinners, and she kind of brought me into this world. And one thing that I've always loved about dark romance, and again, you guys read Vicious Secret, is so good. So good. It's the angst, it's the buildup, but it's the possession. The possession for me, it's like, that's why I think people love those types of books so much, is just because it's like they will yearn and die for you. They will kill for you. And it's just like, as women, I mean, as anybody, like when you're reading these books, that's like, I want that. I want that so badly. Like you write it so well. I finished Vicious Secret on audiobook, mind you. I literally sat in my car when I would pull up from work and not get out of my car. And I finished your book in 31 hours.
Dang.
I loved it. It was so good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's not as popular as my other duet. And so, so when Vicious Secret gets love, I'm like, that's a real fan.
Yeah.
You're not jumping on the bandwagon of the other duet.
Well, I think, but that's why so one thing I try to do, and I know Allison does the same, is we both try to read books for whoever we interview, but not their most popular. Because obviously everyone has read that one. So I was looking at your duets and I was like, I read the synopsis and I was like, oh no, I want that one. I want that one because I just, it's the school aspect. It's the crows. Like, oh, it's very good, my dear. Sorry, I'm going to ramble, but I'll let Allison move on.
I mean, and I was fortunate enough that we actually have a group that created a Sinners and Stardust book club on the book club app. And back, I want to say it was in like November, we read Once You're Mine. And so when she was like, oh, we're doing Morgan Bridges, I was like, okay. So, I mean, I love that you've had the jump from sci-fi romance to dark romance and more of that obsession, possession style. I love it. What inspired you to become an author?
So I started sneaking romance novels when I was like 11, and they were obviously not as explicit back then, but they were not traumatic, because there was a lot more non-con that was just like, oh, it's a bodice ripper, you'll be fine. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
So anyway, I read a lot of Regency romance. And then I've been an avid reader since forever, before it was cool. I used to like put book jackets on my paperbacks so they couldn't see the like bodice ripping at my, school. And then I would like, when we had time, I was reading smut. Like I didn't even, anyway, apparently I knew that was not exactly acceptable because I put little like paper jackets on it. So I had been reading devouring story, especially after college when I couldn't read as much, and then got back into the reading world. And I was just like, I have so many like story ideas in my head, and I was like, well, let me try to write it. And so I wrote like 2 sentences, and I looked at it and I was like, this is shit. I am shit. We are not doing this. And so I let it go for years. And then it kept happening where my head kind of felt full. And so I was like, let me just purge. I know exactly how this is going to go. Well, actually, it turned into a still shit, like young adult novel. And I was like, oh, which is ironic because now I'm like, if it's not smut, I'm not interested. But I finished it, and I was like, well, now what do I do? And then that was the time that was about, let's see, I started in 19. So this was probably about 2017, 18, where I was like, okay, well, what? And I learned about indie. Somebody was like, oh, you can just upload your book. And I was like, get the hell out of here. You could just, because trad was such a gatekeeper back then. And they were like, oh yeah, you can just throw it up there. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try trad and then learn how to write under Miranda, a pen name. And then, well, but then it took off and I was like, wow, I guess Alien is for me, and then it just kind of evolved as the market changes, my decisions change, and because I like to stay relevant. I also tend to be a trend writer. If it's trending and if it's hot, I really like writing it because I like new and shiny things. I don't want to just rinse and repeat. Or if I take the same trope, I want to make it different, new. And that's to my detriment sometimes too, because people have like a successful series and they'll just keep writing in it. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I also recognize that is a shortcoming on my end, the need to do something new all the time.
But I think that's what evolves as authors. And again, it blows my mind that you've only been doing this since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane because in all careers, when you get to a certain level, like people are like, oh, you've been doing this for like 20, 30 years, right? Because like I've been doing hair 15. Allison, how long have you been doing hair? 20 years. So it's like I read your books and I'm like, oh, she's been an author for like 20 years. And I'm like, nope.
No,
like, I write so well.
Oh,
so
thank you. I really appreciate that. It's like my words of affirmations, my love language. And I try so hard. And I think that's one of the reasons why I switched genres was because the way that I wrote SFR, it didn't allow for the beautiful language that dark readers appreciate, like the similes and the metaphors and things like that. And I like that was lost on the SFR readers. They were like, where's the big dick? And I was like, well, yeah. But also, like, don't you love that his skin, like, thrummed like the strings of a violin? And they're like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'm sure some did, but for the most part, that's dark. Like dark loves that the bringing you into the depth of what they're feeling, right? Because of the ink. And so I felt like it allowed me to express myself and my own style of writing. It was just more of a perfect fit for me. But I don't have any formal training. Everything that I've learned has just been from trial and error and reading a lot. I think that you learn so much picking up, cadence and rhythm and structure from just reading other books and then kind of taking the elements and nuances of each thing and then having your own flavor to things. So I think that, as much as I'm trying to do the same thing as everybody else, we're all using the same 26 letters, blah, blah, blah. I do really appreciate you saying you like my writing. Like that is my, like straight to my heart. I'm like, okay, so we're friends now.
Yay. No. And like, that's the thing is Allison and I, we, every time, cause we work Tuesday through Saturday and like on Tuesday, like, all right, what'd you read? Cause we're in this, Sinners is literally like 3 months away, which is crazy pants. I'm really excited, but the way you build your scenarios, especially from room to room, personality versus personality. By the way, I love the goth best friend. She's
Raven. She's
my God, I love her. I want her to be my best friend. Just because it reminds me so much of me in high school. That was so me. I was like the out of the box, but looked like a goth kid. That was so accurate.
When I was writing her, I was like, okay, what outrageous shit can come out of her mouth? And I was like, that. Like if it wasn't something that was just kind of making you tilt your head a little, I was like, okay, it didn't hit the level. Like I wanted her to be consistent, throwing everybody off their game as they were reading her, but also looking forward to that, like what is going to come out of her mouth next.
Yeah.
So,
and it was her obsession with coffee that related to me more because I drink more coffee than every human on the planet. Like Allison knows she's it's ridiculous. Yeah. And the Nespresso machine is literally like could be tapped into my arm and I'd be fine. So I mean, I've been talking about your books because I'm obsessed with them. And the big thing is I would love to know this. This was definitely a question for me. When you write your books, is it a scene by scene or do you have a whole plot ready to go and you're filling it in? Like how do you do that process?
Okay. So, as I told you, I have no training. And so what I realized is that each genre has a specific set of guidelines as, expectations from readers. And so authors measure things in word count, not pages, because the formatting can change a page count. And so when I was writing SFR, it was like 50,000 words. And now that I'm writing these duets, they're anywhere between 70 to 100,000 words each. And so it's changed. With that being said, there's more plot required, I believe, for dark romance. And I used to be a straight pantser. Like, I would just get a general concept and just race to the finish line. And now I want to provide a level of depth that plotting allows because of the weaving of threads from the beginning. So what I consider myself is more of a tent pole writer. So like I have poles in place, but the space between tent poles, I have no idea. I just know that at some point I need to land here because I'm a discovery writer. And so when things come out of me that I hadn't planned, it's new and exciting. And it's something to look forward to, because then my brain's like, oh my God, what if we do this? And we're like, oh yeah, we should totally do that. That's amazing. And so I need that discovery as I go, but also within the checkpoints, right? Like, I need to make sure that I hit certain, they call them beats. The people that plot, they're like, hit certain beats. I don't do that. I'm just like, this thing needs to happen.
Things need to happen.
Yeah, it's very intuitive, because in the past, my editor's like, this is your turning point. This is your pinch point. I'm like, that's great. I don't know what you're saying to me right now. And also because I'm character driven, not plot driven. So it's more of, how do these characters, what are they seeking? Because that guides their actions. Everybody has motivations in life, and that is what dictates your behavior, because you're seeking said thing, usually because of some emotional wound. And then that guides the plot. And then so I try to incorporate the external, internal, and make them parallel, blah de da. But yes, most of the time it's just me like going, okay, at some point he needs to kill somebody. Excellent. And how are we going to get there? I don't know. Let's go. So yes, so there is some framework, but it's a loose framework. But I think that the plotting has helped create, like I said, the level of depth, but also the emotional payoff at the end. And so I'm still learning to plot, you guys. And so so like I said, self-taught, you can kind of tell, because I'm like, what are you doing? Who the fuck knows? Like, we're going to try this time. So I'm still learning, but yes, both. So you're like, give me your answer. Yes.
No, but honestly, that's okay.
Both.
That's okay, because like, I like how you were like plot driven, character driven, like you're like, I love Delilah. And the reason why I like her is because you think that she's going to be this like quiet, mousy FMC that's going to, eventually come back and be a badass. No, she was a badass at the minute you meet her. Like, she, the dynamic of the foster families and everything, like, it just, I love that you call them littles, because every time I see a kid, I call them little humans. So it just, that made me really, those little nuances, as someone who has come from fantasy, like I was hardcore men with wings only. Now going into dark romance and dark academia, you pulled me in a way where it made me wonder how you wrote it, because it was such a good representation of everything that I love as a reader, which I love an angsty man with dark features. It's just how it is. Like, I just like it, but you also brought in social media to it. You brought in, like, these are no spoilers, guys. This is nothing as spoilers, but it is an easy read, but it keeps you on the edge of your seat. And for me, who drives like a maniac in my car, and I'm just like holding my wheel, like, you know what I mean? Like that to me makes it a good book.
So there's a fine line between, so I won't get into it, but there's, oh my gosh, like I say this on everything I do. So there's a thing called Gallup strength, and it basically explains like your brain wiring and stuff. And so needless to say, mine is fast paced. Like, everything I do in my life is like, we should this. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it now. Absolutely. Immediately. Take action now. And so what I have learned is that doesn't really happen in the human population that often. Mm-hmm. And so you'll notice that my characters have such a sense of agency at all times. It's like, well, let's talk about it also, but now what are we going to do about it? So they're constantly doing. And I think that that's what helps lend itself to the attention grabbing, because it's like every time you turn around, there's a balance between action and internal dialogue. And I walk that fine line really quickly, because I don't like to do a lot of juxtaposition, like where they're just thinking for a long time. I'm like, well, we can just go do something about it. There's nothing to think about. Like, we've already made a decision. Let's go. And so I think that fast pace is something that, one, I can't not do it because it's who I am. But I think it helps set my books apart just slightly because there isn't all this like, let's have a think. I'm like, nah, let's do it now. Yesterday.
Well, and with that, with having your characters being so action and reaction driven, did you face any challenges while you were writing the Obsidian duet? Making sure that those characters constantly were in action?
Yes, that's the problem. The girl had a heart transplant. And I'm like, so get her up and get her out of the hospital, man. She's just going to go walking.
Keep moving.
And my friend who's like complete opposite of me, her strengths are completely different than me. And she's like very analytical and very thought driven. And she's like, honey, that is not a thing, you know? And I was like, really? She can't just like roll out of bed and just go do some shit. She's like, no. And I was like, okay, well, how much is like, that's the thing that I find difficult is straddling the line of, because we suspend reality, we suspend belief in romance, right? But like, how far till I take it to where you're like, no, come on, you know? And so I think there were some readers that were like, that girl should not be getting out of that hospital bed. And I was like, too fucking bad, because I need her to go do the thing. So I do find that my need for agency kind of gets the suspend reality. I kind of touch that a little and make it too unbelievable. So I try to rein that in a little bit more now. But I mean, the book's written too late. But going forward,
but I'm gonna stop you though, girl, because I literally, when that part happened, I was like, I watch a lot of hospital shows. How is she gonna do anything? But it's the way. First of all, again, no spoilers. How the heart transplant happened was epic. Well,
that was my thing. I'm romance over logic. Like, I'm like, yes, he needs to do this thing because I said so, and it is the most beautiful thing. And if people don't like this grand gesture, then like, I just close the book then, because
but it's so perfect for the storyline because X is that MMC that like he will yearn, die, bleed, throw up if he needs to for her. And so the grand gesture has to be there, but you wrote it in a way where, as a reader that likes to listen, I listen to audio at 1.5 and I read really fast.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine how fast it's going?
Yeah, I know.
I'm already
and so it's
whiplash all the time. So.
I know. Like, especially with your book, I was like, oh my God. But again, I can't say it enough. The way that grand gesture was given to me just shows exactly why people do love dark romance. It's because it may have the blood, guts, and gore, and it may have the psychological thriller aspect to it. But at the end of the day, it's the yearn and burn for you. And that's
yes, for me, that was more important than hospital procedure.
Right.
And I will.
No, thank you, Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I see it, for real. Like, nobody complain. I mean, if you are in that industry, you will probably be like, like my husband's retired. He did 20 years in the Army. My mom did 21 years in the Army. So every time we watch a military film, those two bitch about how inaccurate it is. And I'm like, let me just live my life, you know?
Right.
Like, I just want to like military dudes with no shirts on, like killing people. Like, I don't want to hear that the rank is wrong and blah, blah. So I kind of assume that most, not all, but most readers are in that like territory, so that they're like, so the bitch probably shouldn't have been able to walk for a month, but you know what? She's got to go save her man, and that's fine. Like, I just want to just say that if you are a medical professional, I apologize, but also not changing it.
Right.
Like,
what's done is done.
Epics. So you talked about how, you've had another pen name. You've been doing this for a while now. If you could meet yourself right when you started this journey, would you what piece of advice would you give yourself?
So I'm actually dealing with this right now. It's something that I think for me, I need to get a hold of, because I don't handle, when my books don't perform well, I take it very personal. Like, it's not that it's my book baby. Let me be clear. It's more of like, I didn't hit reader expectations in a way that makes them happy. And so I'm like, because whatever I write, I like it. But then when it goes out into the market, then they let me know if they like it in return. And when that doesn't happen to whatever level, I get very disappointed in myself, and I'm pretty I'm pretty mean about it. So I have like a coach, so I do coaching, and she's like, you know, if we couldn't use the word failure, what would we use? And I was like, okay, so I've refined it and redefined it as failure is a precursor to success. Like I need to, like I have to fail at something in order to learn the thing that I need to learn in order to be successful going forward. So now instead of looking at failure as such a bad thing to where I'm really just down on myself about it, now I'm like, okay, I had to walk that. I had to do the thing because you don't know what you don't know. And I hate that, but it's true. You don't know what you don't know. If I had known, obviously I would have made a different decision. But the decision that I'm making is a direct result of said failure. So now I'm just like, okay, failure is just a precursor to success, and I'm literally working on that right now. I halfway believe it. I have enough data to support it. I just want to get it deep into my like gut so that it doesn't hurt when my books don't do what I want them to do. Because you can look at any author. You probably, for the most part, there are books that you like more than others in their catalog. Like that's just the way it goes. Mm-hmm. But I get all, sad. I want to like all of them at the same level, and that's just not a thing. So I'm trying to be more kind to myself and taking on a different mindset that allows for mistakes and lack of perfection, because unfortunately I'm not able to attain that. But I do try really hard, and I think that's the thing. When you spend months, maybe year of your life writing these things, you really want it to do well. Yeah. And then when it kind of doesn't, you're like, well, fuck. Because you're the one that wrote it. You're the one that wrote it. You can't blame anybody else. Like, I wrote the shit. So it's not. Anyway, so yes, failure is a precursor to success. Because I it for readers, when the love isn't reciprocated to the level that I would like, I don't take it as in it's their fault. I immediately put it on me. And so I'm going through coaching to be kinder to myself.
That's awesome.
We all need that. So how do you approach writing steamy or emotionally heavy scenes?
Okay. I mean, those are two different things.
Sure.
So I can't have music with words because the words will flow onto the page. I have to have purely instrumental music, soundtracks of original scores, things of that nature. However, the tempo matters. So if it's going to be an action scene, it's probably going to be something like Transformers, that yes. soundtrack, or like Dune or something. If it's not, and it's more emotional, then I will pick something that it coincides with that. Sex scenes, so there's this one song so I Pavlov dogged myself. I put this one song on every time I write a sex scene, and then so like immediately get like turned on, because I told my brain that that's what we do when we write sex scenes, is because I'm of the belief if I'm not turned on, you're not going to be turned on neither. So like right. I sit there all hot and bothered writing this shit, but it's like one little instrumental song that's only like 3 minutes long, and then I'm like, it's go time, and my body's like, okay, so like what is he doing for her now? And I was like, yeah. So I trained my brain to listen to this one song that it's nothing. It's not even from a soundtrack. It's just an instrumental piece. And then I'm like, oh, it's go time.
I love that.
So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's dumb because other people are like doing really cool things. They're like, yeah, I was listening to this really sexy song and he's pounding her and whatever. And I'm like, mine's like la dee da, but my brain, wiring is now set. So
oops. No, but that's we all have our own ways. Like I don't get into my car and immediately turn on my book. I have this weird process where like when I leave work, Allison and I do this weird thing where we sit in our car for at least 10 to 15 minutes before we actually leave the parking lot.
Disassociated.
And I listen. Because we talk to people all day. And so, I listen to this one song that I've listened to on repeat for the past 4 months, and then I leave, and then I turn my book on. It's almost like the song opens up my brain to accept the book. You know what I mean? And then when I'm like 10 minutes away from home, I turn the music back on because I don't want to go in because I'll sit in the driveway and not go into my home because I want to listen to the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Oh,
So
that. I think it's just more of a, the reason why is because writing, I'm a daily writer. There's different types.
okay.
There's binge writers and this and that. I'm a daily writer. And so I think it's one of those, it's important to get your brain in the right place, because I'm not a mood writer. Like, that's not, I don't really care if I feel like I'm in the mood. We're writing. And so the music helps, like you said, set the stage for that brain to get into that zone. I call it a focus tunnel. Like, I need to lock on to what I'm doing. I need to throw out my blinders, and then I need to go and tunnel. And so the music is one of those, like, hey, it's time to solely focus on this and only this, and like block out the rest of the world. And so that song is just kind of more of that brain switching on and off to do the thing. I will say though, I do have to be in the mood for it. Song, no song, it doesn't matter. Like, I have to be ready to be vulnerable in the sexy times, because there's only so many pieces and there's only so many things. And so I think, you know, I do try to think about like what fits for these characters as a, like, how are they going to do this? How is this going to be? Because I mean, I joke about the smut, but for me, the sex is a character development. It is not for the sake of um, physical gratification, although that's what the characters think at the time, but it's actually something. And so it matters what they're doing, how they're doing it, and why. And that takes a lot of thought. So unless I'm ready to do that, so everybody's sex scene should reflect who they are as a couple. And and that takes a minute for me to kind of
No, but you know what? Now that you said it, it all makes sense after reading it. You know what I mean? Because you're so right. Like, and this is gonna sound so weird. I don't think I've ever said this before. The way that X and Delilah have sex are the way that they are towards each other. Like,
yes,
that's the way they are walking through campus, yelling at each other, texting each other. Like,
yes.
that makes so much sense, and I never would have put two and two together.
No, it's true. Like, I mean, I like choke her because I felt like that was important to, like, it just fit with his character. But
Yeah.
if you notice in the other books that I've, like the one that I'm writing now, he's not choking her, but he's doing other things to her. So I think that it, you know,
That's
um,
good though. That's good.
yeah.
So I have to ask though, just because like you're a daily writer, that's something I picked up very quickly. A lot of the people I've interviewed are not, so they're very much more mood writers, you know. So that's
Yeah.
really cool to hear. And you can just tell that you have a way of doing things and you like to do them your way, and it works really well for you. When you are outside of that, when you leave your library or your office and you go live your life, what are some of your favorite things to do in your spare time?
So I was a stay-at-home mom for over a decade, and we
Oh
were,
wow.
was in the army. And so we had a single income, and I stayed home with my kids, and I cherish those memories. But I told them when they were older, I was like, when you guys are self-sufficient, I am out of here. And so now this job is a dream job because I can go wherever I want, and it can be related to a book, especially, and I try to keep it, you know, wherever there's a signing, then I go. But my favorite thing is to travel to overseas. Specifically,
Oh,
right now,
very cool.
I'm trying to conquer Europe. You know, here and there. Rare. I don't know if you've heard of that
Yeah,
event.
yeah. Isn't that
So,
like that's coming up, isn't it? I
yes.
feel like it's coming up. Yes.
Yes. So Rare has all these great overseas signings. And so anytime they're available, I am like, sign me the fuck up, because I want to go and see the world in a way that I hadn't been able to when I was a
Mhm.
stay-at-home mom. So traveling is my favorite. And if I'm not overseas and I'm at home, then I am a mother and a wife. So I do like being with my family. And so my oldest is in high school and she's in the marching band. So we do a lot during band
Oh,
season.
wow.
Cool.
I have
Yeah.
no musical talent, so I always love people who do.
Yeah, same.
My kids don't have a choice. I was like, one of these things, you're going to do one of them. I
Yeah.
don't care what instrument, you're going to do one. So my little one, she's going into 6th grade and she got picked for the French horn, which is not a normal thing.
Oh, that
Like,
is
you
so
have to be talented from the get to do it. So I'm like, oh. So anyway, so I am excited about those types of things in my day-to-day life is what, like, I have a band thing tonight. I'm going to go find out how much it's going to cost me to rent a fucking French horn. It's going to be like a car, I swear. So
Oh
anyway,
yeah.
I'm going to have to like work really hard to pay for this. for this
Oh
beautiful
yeah.
in my personal life. But yeah, so I take delight in my children and my family on my off time. So
Well,
there you go.
happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Happy
Happy
Mother's
Mother's
Day.
Day.
Thanks.
Allison's a mom. I am not. I like fur babies. But I'm an aunt of 14, so I'm the cool aunt from California. I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it takes a village. It really does.
It
It does.
I told you I was a stay-at-home mom, and when my husband retired from the army, I said, "Listen, you need to be the stay-at-home dad now, and I need to do the breadwinning." And so we swapped roles. And my daughter is always like, "Hey, mom," and it's like parent-teacher conference, and she's like, "I told them your pen name, and I told them what books you write, and blah blah, and I'm trying to get you book sales." And I was like, "I'm gonna need you to not do any of that." Because you know how awkward it is to like walk in there and be like, "Hey."
That's so
So,
funny. Like, I bet the teachers were like, "I liked your books."
but I don't. I mean, it would stop.
Well, because it's the whole thing of like I mean, in The Vicious Secret, the teacher ends up being he gets her into what happens. Like, and you think that, because you already know the teacher's a dick in the first like 3 chapters, you already learn that he's an asshole, but then he's just like, go run. And she's like, what? Like, like,
Oh, well, then one of the more like lighthearted but still dark questions we have is, of your characters, who would you call to help you hide a body?
So I thought about this because I have the attorney who like disposes of people, and then I have Xavier who also disposes of people. But and maybe it's because I'm currently writing this person and I'm in his head, but I have created a Heath Ledger's version of the Joker in the current book that I'm writing. And so I would just like to say that it's really hard to write somebody who's smarter than you. Because Heath Ledger was in the Joker, the role of the Joker, he's a genius, and he's insane. And so I find that I would ask my current MMC to help me because he's insane, but his IQ is off the charts. So hopefully that gets translated when I
but
write.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because if I had to choose between, like, if you said it, Joker, if I had to choose between Christian Bale or Heath Ledger from that series, Heath Ledger, no question. Like,
Absolutely.
there's no question there. Like, but it's,
Yeah, this
girl,
book is
you write a Heath Ledger, and you're talking to millennials right now. So,
Yeah.
we're like, oh my God.
This is one of those where I got real selfish, and I was like, I just want to write something that I mean, I always write stuff that I like, but you know how we have those little things in our life. And I remember the first time I saw that movie, I about lost my mind.
Same.
Just with his performance and then his tragic death afterwards. And so this is kind of like my own personal love, Heath Ledger. And so I sold it to Hachette. I put the announcement on my Instagram, but it's hard for me to be like, look what I did. So I just like threw it on Instagram and then didn't talk about it anymore. But I did sell it to Hachette's imprint forever, but they're marketing it as the Joker meets pen pal. But if I were to say, I know why they chose that, because pen pal is another romance, but in actuality, it's Heath Ledger's rendition of the Joker, because we know there's different versions. It's Heath Ledger's specifically version of the Joker meets Silence of the Lambs. And so it's her being a criminal psychologist. Yeah. Yeah.
So exciting.
Girl, you're jumping ahead in this question, because literally the next question is, are you working on anything new that your readers are going to be excited about? Yes.
Yes.
You
Yes.
are.
Yeah, so it's not a secret anymore because Forever put up the pre-order, so I feel like I should probably say something about that. I hope my editor doesn't listen to this. But they threw it up, so the blurb is online, and it's what if Hannibal Lecter didn't eat people and if he made her fall in love with him. That's basically, but as the Joker.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to read this.
I mean, I have really enjoyed writing him. He's, because here was my thought when I was choosing what to write. I said, okay, I've written 2 stalkers, and I can either write something else, or I can really just double down on the thing that I would like to humbly say that I'm good at, right? Because of the sales and feedback that I've had. So I said, well, let me just double down on the thing that I'm good at, which is the stalking aspect. But I don't want to do just another stalking thing. I want it to be, I want to take it to another level. Well, there's nothing higher than an actual psychopath, like an actual, not like, we are not just saying that for the TikTok girlies, like he's certifiably insane. And so that to me is taking the stalking to the next level. Him carving messages into a man's chest for her, you know, like that kind of shit, you know? Just, yeah. So I've tried to take it. So it's like, are the cameras there? Yes. Does he break into her apartment? Yes. But what else? Okay, we're leaving messages on dead bodies now. Okay, great. We're manipulating her that she has to come to the prison over and over and over. Okay, great. You know, that kind of stuff. So I've really enjoyed. It's not a new take because I know that other people have written it, but it's more of my fresh take on a psychotic stalker who's brilliant, and how do we? And then she's different. She's the first FMC that I've written that's not a virgin, who has a boyfriend when they walk in on page, and he gets rid of him, you know, that kind of stuff. So like she's, you know how Delilah was a badass on page one? I made it where this woman is in her late 20s and she is also a badass. Not like, I mean, because here's the thing. She is a lighter version of Harley Quinn. She's not going to go insane, but is she going to run alongside, his name is Ghost, is she going to run alongside Ghost and kill people in book 2? Absolutely she is. So it's Joker Harley Quinn-esque, a nod to it, but Silence of the Lambsy. I know, I feel like I've made a muck of this, but you get
but you know what?
Gosh,
we're following you, and we're literally over here. You're saying everything that tickles the brain of a millennial. Like you're tickling the brain of a millennial. And the thing is what is book talk? 80%. 80% are millennials. You know what I mean? So it's so cool that anything with Heath Ledger, man, like that. We were just talking about it in the salon last week, which is so crazy. But first of all, the name Ghost, into it, like, because that, then again, you're pumping the brains of the 90s girls that love the movie Ghost. Like,
Ghost,
I live for it.
Like all of it. Devon Sawa as Casper. We love our Ghost.
Oh God, Devon Sawa.
No, it's true. But I also wanted something that was, so the challenge for me is you want names that are memorable, easy to say, and that have impact. And sometimes something as simple as Ghost will work. And also, and I mean this nice, I try not to pick names that have been used ad nauseum. Like I don't want to write another famous MMC name.
Yeah.
Christian, like there will never be a Christian Grey. Like I will never, and I mean, I met her, so I was like fangirling like the rest of us, but you know, out of respect, I don't want to use a name that's really famous. So if I do it on accident, well, obviously, but for the most part, I try it. And I don't recall in this context a Ghost. So I know it's been used, but I don't recall it in this context. So.
Right.
Well, that's cool. So obviously, like, yeah, you answered the question. So my question on top of that, just so we can keep the flow of it, because now I need to know.
Yeah.
When is this coming out?
So I negotiated really hard with Forever because they were like, it's going to come out next year. And I was like, nope, it needs to come out this year or I am walking. And so they made it into December. I wanted it before the signings. I did try, but because
you're fine.
it has a different system with how they line up their buyers and their publishing. So I just want you to know, I tried to have it in time for the signing, but it was not. So it comes out December.
That is okay. Like, but that's the thing, is that you have a Forever fan in both of us, because we've both read your duets and stuff, and you know, it's you tickled our brains, and now we're not going to be able to forget about it. So
I know what I'm reading Christmas morning. So Christmas morning, open presents, mom's reading.
I hope you guys like it. I will say, remind me via email. I got some not safe for work art commissioned, and I got some regular character art to be put in the book commissioned. And it is good, ladies. And so remind me I was going to order some of the not safe for work art, and then I will give you of the new one. I will give it.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
The art,
Don't tempt me, girl. Don't tempt me, girl.
I know he's diddling her skittle from behind the prison bars, and so
I love it.
I've never heard diddling.
I mean, we're talking about not safe for work stuff, but in a safe for work way. I love it.
Oh, that is epic. That's going in as a
so
teaser.
I was like, and somebody
Diddling
told,
Skittle.
did you write prison romance? And I was like,
A little bit.
'cause in my mind I'm trying to be, oh, I wrote a dark romantic psychological thriller, and they're like, so did you write a prison romance? And I was like, yeah, like,
Yep.
yeah, I guess I
Sure
kind of
did.
So I don't know, but anyway, I'm really, like I said, I probably would have kept it hush hush, but forever put the pre-order up and you could read the blurb and it pretty much says everything that I already said. So I was like, well, cat's out of the bag, because they do long pre-orders. That is their strategy. And I, you know, being a hybrid author, I'm like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So
Exactly.
I'm just really excited that it's coming out this year. I have already written and turned in book 1 and did my dev edits, and I'm still writing book 2. So I mean, we just have to do so many things in advance. So even though it seems far for you guys, like, I started writing book 1 like August of last year. So I'm trying to do my thing, you know what I mean? But I'm a slow writer and Trad's a slow publisher. So between the two of us, it's forever.
You're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie.
And that's fine. We'll wait for the good stuff, like that's totally fine. And even though it's not going to be ready for the signing. Well, and like TikTok also gives you that sense of community that like these book signings do as well. And it's something that I got to experience for the first time with Sinners last year, is just kind of seeing I call it the Taylor Swift of it all, where everybody is just so happy, so overjoyed and full of like love and like peace and that vibe. What are you most excited about for Sinners this year?
It will always be the readers. It doesn't matter what event I'm going to, it'll always be the readers. But specific to this event, what I like about this one, and of course I'm biased, but I love that it's dark romance centered. Because it sucks going to a signing where there are other authors that are bringing in larger crowds of people that do not read your stuff. And so you're just kind of like, and so I love that this is like, it's kind of like for us, by us. Like, remember that FUBU? We're talking about millennials.
Yes. I'm about to say for us, by us. Did you say FUBU, girl?
FUBU.
Like, what the
Yeah, because I'm old. But that's what I like about it, that it's going to be people who are part of the dark romance tribe and who understand the allure and why it's such a fast-growing subgenre of romance. And we're all like-minded, right? Whether you're on the lighter side of the dark continuum like me, or whether you're on the black molasses side, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, because that's one thing that people haven't been able to define, because it's so individualized. And so we just come together as a congregation of liking dark romance. And I just really like that.
It's gonna be. We're so excited to have you. Like, you're definitely an author that we have all been when you came on, we were just like, no way. Like, because they all know I'm one of your biggest fans. It's fine. I'm not weird. I'm not fangirling. Everything's fine. But it's the environment that we strived to create. We strive to create a safe place for the reader to meet the author, for the books that you may be ashamed to read or embarrassed to read, or people like look at you differently because you read them. Well, guess what? The person that wrote it wants to meet you. You know what I mean? And so that was just the whole point of us creating this event, because you will go to these mixed events, which are great. Like, they're awesome. You get to a little bit of everything. But sometimes you only read one genre, and there wasn't really anything out there that was in the States that was a safe place to go, that was attainable. Yeah, there was international events that are amazing, but like, not everyone could afford to do that, especially in the Northeast. So hearing you say that just it means a lot to me, just because that was the whole point on why we created this event, was to give that safe space.
No, I love it so much. I think that, we are in some ways set apart from the rest of the genre, because nobody really, I mean, you're either going to talk shit about romance as a whole and then we're all united, or they're going to really dig into the dark romance of it all. Like, when I was doing TikTok for the first duet, I got so much shit for it's like, oh, we're normalizing stalking now. And I was like, yeah, bitch, we are in the fiction. And it's like they couldn't grasp that it was fiction. Anyway, but what I like is that we are kind of set apart in the romance genre, not better, not worse, but different. And so it is nice to have people who understand that, and that we're all like-minded. For me, on as a side note, I do a lot, I guess lurking on Facebook and stuff. I'm not really active, but I lurk because that is still the hub for authors to find out information about things. And this event was, because it was new, I was like, let me wait after some other ones that shall not be named went badly. And so I was like, okay, but this, after the first one was done, the amount of good things that people had to see, I found not one negative comment, not one. And I mean, I'm scouring and I am deep diving, because if I'm going to invest my time, I need to know that it's going to be worth it. Because I don't, I'll put up with stuff for readers, but I also don't want to and know that I'm going to be treated like shit. So
no,
but things happen, right? And so
recently we have learned that things can happen.
Yes, and fault of anybody, but it still can happen. So what I will say is that one of the things that made me eager to sign up and put my trust in for this year, and signing up for the one in New Orleans, as sponsor to really back the organization, was because of the love and appreciation from the reader and author side. Like, you guys got love bombed on both, and I have never seen something done that well in a long time, because usually you'll hear it was great, but, and then you'll get valid and you guys had nothing, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, where is the person that's like negative Nancy that's gonna like talk shit? And she was nowhere to be found. So it made me, it set the bar high, but it also allows for some grace too, because it's like, okay, they've done a successful event, so if things don't go as well, we know the intention is there. Should, for the most part, be on both sides. Like I said, reader and author, it should go well. And so I'm really excited to be a part of it. And I was annoying the person on the email. I don't remember who it was. And I was like, hi.
Jen. Anytime you email the Sinners email, that's Jen. The owner.
I was like, trying to throw my weight around. I was like, I am a sponsor and I want to go to New Orleans. And she's like, fill out the form. And I was like, I filled it out like 4 times because I am neurotic as shit. And she was like, oh, well, just consider this. You get to go. And I was like, all right. So I'm annoyed.
That sounds like Jen. No, we're not. I specifically am not allowed in the emails because my email writing is how I talk, which is not professional. So Jen takes care of the emails. I do the DMs because socials is my thing. I think, everyone even asks me, like, Red, what was your favorite moment? And I was like, I don't remember most of it. I just remember running. I blacked out. But, I came from the hair industry, so, hair conventions, similar, but not the same, obviously.
Yeah.
But one thing I told Jen, I was like, we just have to listen to the negative to make it better. Like, that is something that nothing ever happens. When you hear the negative, no one ever makes the changes, but we looked for negative. We were like, hey, what could we do better? And the biggest thing because I'll fully admit, was just the spacing of the aisles. That was the only thing that we heard. So we tripled it. We didn't double it. We tripled it, so for this coming year. So people have room and they can, we also bought the whole ballroom. So, we're all on one floor and we can't wait for you to see it. Like, it's going to be a whirlwind of things. Like, it's going to be amazing.
I really am. And I think, I think the readers don't understand, or maybe some of the authors, but it's very strategic in how you put the tables to make sure for the flow of traffic. Because, there are some authors you can predict that it's going to be this or that, but other times you just can't. And so I think people don't give that thought. They're just like, well, how come this is that? And you're like, listen, there are fire hazards and there are things and people trampling one another. And so whenever the table positioning comes out, I'm always like, okay, because I assume you guys do it, with that.
Yeah, that's Jen. Jen does it. She does all that stuff.
It's painstaking for her. She literally sits there and she's very meticulous about where everything is placed. And I was kind of an outsider. I was just a volunteer last year, but I mean, I was always there to support Red while they were getting everything going. And from my point of view, these girls, they took every event that they had gone to, because they went to a ton of events, and any
Yes.
failure or mistake or thing that was negative about those events, they took that into consideration to make this event better. And I think that goes
Yeah.
back to like what you said, the whole, failure is part of the process. Like, so seeing those things, and at the end of it, when everybody was like, authors were coming up to the volunteers and going, oh my gosh, this is the best event I've ever been to. Like, tell the Dark Collective that like I will come back every year as long as they will have me. And
Well, that's why
we would tell them and they'd start crying, and we're like, don't cry.
yeah, that's why I was being so being like, can I go to New Orleans? Because I had heard such good things that I was like, sign me up now, sign me up later, sign me up. Like, it's like,
because
New Orleans is going to be epic too. We just were there, and the weekend before Super Bowl, looking at the hotel, and we because Jen had already been there to sign contracts, so the rest of our collective, we came and looked at it. It's so massive, but it's so easy to navigate, which is so nice, and it's in the heart of New Orleans. So like, there's so much to do. It's gonna be epic. Oh my gosh, Morgan Bridges, we could talk to you for hours. Like literally, we could talk to you for hours. Thank you so much for doing this. And real quick, why don't you tell everyone, what are the 2 events you are doing with us?
Oh, I am doing the one in Boston, I believe it's Sinners and Stardust, and then is it Shadows and
Seduction?
Okay.
Seduction.
Yeah. I'm super excited. I think I told you my husband was in the Army, and we were stationed in Baton Rouge for a time.
Cool.
So I drive to New Orleans to do like my own writing retreat by myself. And so I'm so happy to have an excuse to revisit New Orleans. And yeah.
Oh, I love that. So
Boston.
why don't you, first of all, thank you so much for doing this. I don't know how I'm going to cut this interview down, just because like literally it's been, you were such a dream, and you're so talented, and I love your books, and I know Allison loves your books.
Yes.
So real quick, how do we find you on socials?
Socials, I'm on TikTok and Instagram. I accept emails and at authormbridges@gmail.com, and I do I check DMs on Instagram. Those take me a little bit longer to reply to, but I do try. It is me. That's why it takes a long time, because it's actually me replying.
She's like, it's me. And just so everyone knows, Morgan Bridges' Instagram is Morgan Bridges_author. So just to make sure you knew exactly where to find her. But again, my dear Allison, do you want to say anything before we bow out?
Just thank you so very much for being here with us. And we are so excited to see you in Boston and in New Orleans. And we cannot wait for your next book to come out in December.
Yes, we were very excited.
Meet you in person. I'm going to hug you, and it'll be great. And so like, it'd be nice that we did this interview so I could get to know you prior. And really excited for your guys' event. I am cheering for you. And if, thank you for inviting me to be on the podcast and to be part of the signing. And I'm wishing all of us the best.
Yeah. So again, Miss Morgan, thank you so much. Make sure you guys check out the Dark Collective podcast. It is every other Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. We are literally on every platform that I could find to put this podcast. Again, see you guys soon. And thank you again, Miss Morgan. We love you.
Thank you.
Bye.